I'm so glad I have two monitors.
Oh, we are live. That's the first.
Hello, everyone. Adam Sharp.
It was Alfred. It's not
Right.
always me. It's
Cut.
almost always me. All right. 5,
Hello.
4, 7.
Welcome to Out of Lives. www.outoflives.net.
Can't handle the truth.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Out of Lives podcast. I'm your host, Adam, and this week I am joined by Adil,
Way.
who most of you will know from Tanked Up, presumably. And we are also joined by Alfred.
Hello. Brilliant start.
Yeah.
First podcast first Out of Lives proper podcast, and that's my opening.
I was going to say,
yeah.
which we know Alfred from the brilliant On the Test episode about
Wildlands.
Tom Clancy's TM, Ghostlands Wild Road Recon. That's the one, right?
What?
Rogue ass.
Wildlands, the game that I keep mistaking for Windlands because I'm an idiot.
Well, also,
Very different, one's a AAA open world shooter game and one is not AAA indie VR title. Very,
Probably a lot more fun.
very different. It's a great game, but very, very different.
Right,
Well, anyway,
Before you start, Adam, I just need to point out the fact that we are recording on Valentine's Day, and it's episode 69. Yeah,
it's almost as if we planned this
Yeah.
out months in advance.
Well,
and
you have no idea how much joy it brings me to know that my first official Out of Lives podcast is episode
And your
6.
next
can
one
just
will be episode
imagine
420.
This is
you can imagine, 10
Mm-mm-mm.
years' time when we're all famous and rich and you get asked it in an interview somewhere, so what was your first episode? And you're like, I remember it
Yeah,
well.
baby.
It was Valentine's Day 2017 and it was episode 69.
oh, baby.
I couldn't resist the juvenile joke.
Yes.
I'm glad you guys are on board with it. So anyway, Adam, I interrupted
Yes. That's alright. We'll start with our first talking point, which is the film Hidden Figures. It's one that I watched recently. Have either of you seen it?
you. I have not seen it, but I have seen
No.
a trailer of it.
Yes, that I helpfully posted a link to for you.
It's very helpful. I still haven't watched it.
It's very helpful, but only if you actually click on it. That's
It's
where this is
true.
falling down. Anyway, but the basic plot synopsis of it is it's about the true story of the Mercury missions that were from NASA back in the 60s that put John Glenn as the first American to orbit the Earth, and it's the lead up to that, and it focuses on the story of 3 black women who worked at NASA and the kind of the vital role that they actually played in making all this happen and actually running the show almost to a certain extent that hasn't really been told before because of racism in the past and all the various things, and it's about the struggles that they
You're
faced.
adorable, Adam. Racism in the past.
Yeah, they faced it. You know what I mean? It's obviously that's still an ongoing issue.
You're outnumbered here, Adam.
Obviously, it's still an ongoing issue, although things have moved in the right direction mostly, for the most part.
Until recently.
That's fair.
So it's very appropriate and poignant given recent events and various things to look at these sort of things, and these are the kind of stories that we should be hearing about.
Yes.
Correct.
Have you watched it?
Yes, I watched it.
You watched the film.
Did you like it?
Yes, I watched the whole thing, not just the trailer.
The entire
I watched the entire thing,
See-
and it was very good.
It's very good. It's Oscars, many Oscar nominations for this, isn't there? There was. Have the Oscars been and gone?
They
I can't even
haven't
remember. I'm
gone.
so frazzled.
I was curious what the quality of the acting was. I mean, the jaded amongst the film watching public would definitely call this Oscar bait, and I was just curious how the actual sort of direction and acting lives up to sort of the content being sort of poignant.
Yeah, I thought it was very good. I mean, I'm not that into films that follow Oscar bait or those kind of trends and whatnot to really tell the difference between the two. But I have eyes and a brain, and what I watched was a good quality film. The direction was good, the characters were well cast, the casting was good, everyone played their role well. There's Jim Parsons, that most people will know as Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, played one of the kind of senior, scientist guys who was racist towards the one that had
Jim, no.
Oh, I know. He played that role very well, where he's very dismissive of her and all that kind of thing. That was quite good, and they did a really good job of highlighting, the racism and the difficulties that they faced without bludgeoning you over the head with it. If you know what I mean.
That's good.
It was well placed into the various things, in the various scenes and different things that. They did linger on it, shots of like a sign that said, white only, coloured only, and stuff like that. But they did it in a subtle enough way that, it gave you time to take it in and read the sign and go, oh yeah, that's
bad.
That's what life was like back then, and that's terrible, absolutely terrible. But it was a very good film, and these are the sorts of stories and things like that
is what
we want to see.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely, because they played a very important role working out, the actual the math behind actually putting him into orbit and then bringing him back out of orbit back down to the Earth without pissing him off into space or burning him up in the atmosphere and things like that, which was brand new science that no one had ever done before,
except the Russians
at the time. Yeah, who'd done it literally the year or two before, not very long before, with Yuri Gagarin, who was the first human to orbit the Earth. So these are the kind of things you go.
Who was the first dog?
Sasha.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it? Because I just pulled that out of my rear.
Well, you said it with such confidence.
I know.
I just
it doesn't matter.
Right.
That is the answer.
That's my teaching tone of voice. Shut down questions students have without actually giving real answers. That's not true. I'm always honest with my students.
It's great advice for teachers out there who are struggling. Just pluck an answer out of your arse and say it with confidence. Like, no one will know.
I'm pretty sure that's where most of my education came from.
It was actually
So
Laika.
Well, let me tell you.
Laika. On Sputnik 2 in November 1957.
Oh, Sputnik.
Yeah.
Man.
That's the other reason I wanted to kind of talk about this film and bring it up, because it's an interesting period of history. The space race, the Soviet Union, putting Sputnik up first, and then Yuri Gagarin and all that.
Voyager of potato.
Yeah.
Honestly, whenever Sputnik comes into conversation, which weirdly comes up a lot for me because a couple of my mates are massive space heads, arrowheads, astroheads, whatever you want to call them.
Nerds.
I don't know.
I think the term is nerds.
Those out of my arse too.
Yeah, that's probably.
But I can never not picture David Schwimmer dressed as a potato with a tinfoil hat on from that episode of Friends.
Never.
Yeah, Sputnik.
I was too busy having my own. Not true.
Oh, get you! Oh, brag about it. Ooh, look at adult.
I wish this was a video conference because you guys missed out on some fantastic Alfred dancing.
Yeah, dancing in a chair.
I've got some next level moves, mate.
Always good to watch. Yeah, got
to get my dance on Valentine's Day, baby.
The real question I have for you both: are you interested in watching a film like that?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then, do you have any maybe stories that maybe you know about that you think should get a similar film, or stuff that you would like to see? Maybe.
That is a very good question. I wish you had.
Don't worry, I'll edit
wish-
out the really long pause while you
Yeah,
think.
it's like I wish you had told us this was a question, so I could have thought about it beforehand. Alfred, do you have any ideas about a sort of lesser known story?
I have no ideas. I'm completely blank, despite the fact that I know we'll finish this up and I'll go, this could be a movie, this could be a movie, this could be a movie, this could be a movie.
Adam,
Right now, all I'm thinking about is, well, I've got, I bet we could do some stuff with Prince. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of musical things popping up in my head. Not as in a musical. I mean, a film about a musician or two that I can think of. Having read Slash's autobiography a few thousand times, I can tell you there's some bloody good stories in there that could be turned into films.
An 18, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, there's some mental stuff that went on. I don't know. I feel like I think it's a matter of discovering the stories that need to be told. Like, and I'm not one of those people to discover the story that needs to be told.
Very
Sippy
philosophical
from my
point.
vodka.
Well done,
Adam,
Alfred. You redeemed yourself.
Adam,
Yes.
as you brought this topic up, I was curious if you had an idea.
I don't know any.
As they say, turnabout is fair play.
Yes.
I don't know any specifically, much like Alfred said, but there's plenty of true stories behind a lot of scientific discoveries and things like that I would like to know about. Because obviously, like the most famous one being like Alexander Fleming discovering penicillin because there was some mold grew on a thing that he was working on and whatnot. Those kind of stories they're absolutely fascinating, and there's so many pivotal scientific discoveries made over the years that I'm sure most of them have a quite interesting and potentially compelling story that could be told behind them. So I'd like to see more of this kind of thing, although I don't have any specific examples.
So I think I'm totally on board with the idea of sort of having discoveries on film and sort of bringing the story to the masses, because that also gives people something to latch onto if they don't know the science. I think there is a problem though, because let's take your example, Adam. Alexander Fleming's story is kind of it'd be an interesting drama. Scientist working away, and then he goes out for the weekend and comes back and there's mold. And like that seems to be the sort of like climactic moment, and I just don't know how you would dramatize that. I get like this is the problem of trying to make science compelling. Science is based on sort of dreary experiments and stuff for the most part. Just it's not just like mathematics. I mean, you can dramatize certain breakthroughs, but a lot of it is just working through things day after day, and then the discovery of results. And most like scientific breakthroughs are just the building of things on things, and I don't know how to make that dramatic. And I think that's something that Hollywood struggles with, which is why they jump onto things like A Beautiful Mind, because Nash was also schizophrenic, and that gives you some drama. But like, no one would give a shit about. No one would watch the movie about the guy who did the behavioral economics and made the Nash equilibrium if it wasn't for the fact that he had a really fucked up personal and social life due to his mental illness. Like, so it's sort of hard to figure. It sucks that we don't know how to make just the science compelling, I guess, because I think it would help a lot if people get a better understanding of even just science in general. If we could figure out how to make a movie about how science is this very much trial and error slog thing, and maybe it's just having dramatic stories wrapped around that consistently, rather than trying to make it seem like you pour one thing into another and then science happens as a plot point, which is usually what you see in movies.
That'd be a great T-shirt.
Science pouring one thing into another.
But
Yeah, and that's science.
what we can do is, listeners, if you happen to have an idea or a story that you know about that's maybe not well known to the wider world, send them in. We might read some out if there's some good ones.
We'll make the movie.
Yeah,
We can do it. We
We'll
can
do
do
it.
that too. I know some people. Everyone I know has
Except
a camera on their phone.
Yes.
But I don't have a
Said you, yeah.
webcam, but my phone has a camera, so that will do.
Where, if someone,
that counts.
I mean, I know it's early, but if someone wanted to send one of these ideas in, where would they send it?
Podcast at outoflives.net.
Plug.
Yes. Lots of plugs.
Many more to come.
Yes, at the end, hopefully. Lee's not here, so we don't need to worry about rogue foxes running about or anything. And I'm going to bleep that out. Lee will know exactly what I'm talking about, and so will most of you, but no one else will hear
Excellent.
it. Be good.
Do you want a noise to cover that up with?
I'm sure Audacity
I'll give you one.
give me some.
Right now. I'll do it.
I really enjoyed
Put that in.
I didn't
And
think
no,
I would.
put that in and then cut this bit out so there's no context.
Of course, yeah.
Yep, that's
And people be like, what's
You know
that?
what I really like
You know
about
what? I
this
might just
episode?
drop that into one of the random silences.
What I really like about this episode is that Alfred and I are basically like pre-editing for Adam, pointing out all the things that he's going to need to deal with.
Here's a cut. Here's a cut.
Making editing even more of a consternating battle for him. We're the best co-hosts.
To the point where I
He
might
can
just
do
put
it.
it up
Oh,
as it is.
and I know
Oh,
the more
that'd
we
be-
do
that'd be
this, the
great.
more likely that is, but I just don't care. We're the A-team.
Anyway,
In fact, we all are the A-team. Oh, right, it was the 69 Valentine's thing. Before I realized that, I was going to call us the A-team because we're all the A's.
Oh,
yeah, we're AAA like batteries.
Wait, triple A? You mean like
A.
video game titles, you ass? Like batteries? Man,
No, I was on the batteries as well.
what was that? I gave you the lowest of hanging fruit, like a 75-year-old man's scrotum.
I'll give you the lowest hanging of fruit.
Anyway, Adam, I think besides Alfred and I derailing things as much as possible, were we just going to talk about that movie that only you saw?
What do you mean? That's talking point.
Yeah, I was trying to
There's three
like
more to go.
seamlessly segue to you
Let me do
entering
it again,
talking
let me do
point
it again.
2, and instead you like put a brick wall in front of the train. And it was like, this segue will not pass.
Nah, Adam, I've got this. You know how Hidden Figures is a movie about space?
Yes.
You know what else has got loads of space in it?
Yes, indeed I do.
Fucking Destiny, mate.
Yes, it is Destiny, which I saw a quote from Activision that I can't remember where from, not so long ago.
Everywhere, mate.
Saying that Destiny 2 is still coming this year,
Mm-hmm.
they say. So this is a perfect opportunity let's talk about what we want to see when Bungie finally reveals it.
A game.
Yes. So, first off, Alfred, did you play Destiny?
Ooh, my days. Have I got some stories about Destiny?
Good. Adam, did you play?
Well done.
Talk.
Yes, I have played Destiny, but I was a late starter, buying it only this year, and then because of moving and
so
stuff.
you're a noob.
Well,
Yeah, right, now.
You're not
You're
a day
piece of shit,
oneer
mate.
like me.
No,
Oh, me and Adam, we're on it, mate.
I have 3 characters at level 40, but like I only won at a reasonable level of gear.
Oh yeah, the light levels and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that jazz now.
Weak sauce.
I didn't have a next gen console until like a year ago.
It was on the Xbox 360 and PS3 at launch. It was
True.
about.
Yeah.
Transfer that progress. I know what I'm about.
No.
Look, yeah, we're in my realm now. We're in the game.
In fact, that's fair.
Woo!
Anyway, so yeah, I enjoy the game a lot. I have it on the Xbone.
The wrong console.
I got it really cheap on the Xbone.
That's probably wise.
See, you made that joke, but I feel awkward because I'm sat staring at my PS3. My PS4 and Xbox One are just staring at me at the corner of my eye going, who's chatting shit? It's not me.
I really like the game. I haven't had the opportunity to play with people I know very often, and I think that's the reason why I sort of stopped playing it for a while.
That would do it, yeah.
Which is why I didn't, as soon as I sort of ran out of plot, which I actually really enjoy. Hilariously, I enjoyed the Destiny world building and plot a lot more than I thought it would for a sort of the whole point is to get to the end and do raids and beat
Well,
the
that
beast.
tells me is that you like reading.
So when
I said that like an insult. I love reading as well. I don't know why. I'm sorry.
but also
I
I like the idea that up until this point you didn't
Fuck
think I
that.
might like reading.
didn't know you could read up until this point. But
Yeah,
I'm aware.
Destiny is definitely a game that you need to play with friends or with a group of people that you play with regularly to get the most out of it. Playing raids or multiplayer, the Crucible and whatnot. I have to say the first couple of months after Destiny came out originally was
dog shit.
the golden period for me, because I had a group of people playing, for doing the raid every week and all that kind of stuff, and building up to actually doing the raid and all that. So that was kind of the main period when I played it to begin with, and the subsequent expansions and stuff like that. Obviously, I played quite a lot of them as well, but it was never quite the same as that first time where we were playing through like the raid and had no idea what we were doing, because nobody did, because no one had finished it at that point.
Except the devs and the alpha testers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they hadn't told anyone about it. They would literally tell you, fuck all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
that is the wonderful
I got
thing
sad.
about playing launch games that are sort of like MMOs, sort of raid-centric, where you're playing online with people and no one knows, and so you just kind of have to blunder through while coming late to the party. You actually get people really angry if you don't do it by the
book.
The book,
as it were.
yeah. It's actually one of the reasons why I fell out of love with World of Warcraft sooner than I would have, was because I didn't have the time at the time to keep up with things. And so I ended up, by the time I got to dungeons and stuff, people were angry at me for being the wrong build of whatever character class I was. And it was like, but I just want to play the game, and I like doing this thing. And
Yeah, but that thing doesn't go with our thing.
yeah.
That leads into a very different conversation, because Overwatch is a game that's been struggling with that quite publicly, or in the various game forums and stuff like that. I've seen quite a lot of chat about people getting really pissed at people for picking the wrong characters and all sorts of pish.
Yeah, did you
I
see
hate
the
that
article
game.
about the guy who got reported for like the 15th time for playing the one class he likes playing?
Yeah, I think that's the one that I was thinking of. But that's a conversation for a different time. Probably for people who actually play Overwatch to discuss, because none of us do, as far as I know.
I do
Seeing
not.
as
I own it.
Seeing as I haven't really played a lot of Destiny, and you guys have definitely, sounds like you've played different versions of the end game throughout the life of the game, what are you looking forward to Destiny 2 improving on?
Well, the first thing is Destiny 1 had a brilliant, world building, as you mentioned earlier on, Ado, where you've got the Traveller and the Light and the Guardians and all the different weapons and stuff and everything. There's a really great kind of backdrop to everything that happens that they've created there that you can get really dug into if you want. I'm looking forward to seeing them wrap that up into an actual story this time.
There it is.
Yeah,
I was thinking this is far too positive. Where's it?
yeah.
Where's it
Have
going?
they
Because
commented that they're going to do more story?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the major things they said, that they've taken on board, that what they did before was not good enough, that it needed more work and different things, and there was definitely some behind the scenes stuff where people left Bungie and basically took their work with them, which left them in a bit of a bind. So there's stuff in the background there that we don't know the full story about that clearly had an effect on the story of the game. So that's one thing to consider. So this one, no one's left so far from Bungie that we know about.
Yeah, that we know about.
That's not been in the news, on IGN or anywhere else. So hopefully this time they've actually put together a story from the start and been able to finish it and actually put it in the game. Because they've done a lot of good work with kind of setting everything up and creating all that lore and different things. I really enjoyed reading about the Traveller and wondering about, where the Fallen came from and all that kind of stuff, and learning about them. I really enjoy that kind of thing. But
Yeah, I don't.
Really? Did it?
I don't like reading about it. I'm like, if this is, as you say, like, I'm not big on that. I like my game to be like, here's what's going on, check it out. This is why we're doing this. Why? Because I feel like in Destiny. Now, don't get me wrong, Destiny 2 comes out, I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna play it.
yeah,
Because I've already sunk far too much money into the first
But,
Destiny.
I mean,
I bought it on day one, and then I traded away my PS4 so that I could get an Xbox One. Then I bought it on Xbox One. Then I bought another PS4 because I was like, "Why did I get rid of that PS4? I like that." And then I had to, guys, I had to. I bought it again on PS4, except I bought like the was it Taken King?
Yeah.
Like super mega digital edition, whatever the bollocks it was
Yeah,
called.
that's it.
So, I bought it on there, and then I bought my friend it. I bought him a copy of it because he was like, because he'd played it, he'd gone through it a million times on his PS3 and he loved it, and he just hadn't gotten around to getting it on his PS4, and I was bored of not having anyone to play it with, and I was in a financially, I was in a decent position money wise.
Alfred,
was
you didn't
like-
tell us you'd won the lottery.
Oh mate, no, I was doing all right, and I was like, I'll just get it for him. So I bought him a copy. I sent it to him. He was very confused because I just Amazoned it to him and didn't tell him. And he was like, "What?" And his mum was like, "I think he's gay for you." I was like, "What? No, I want someone to play the game with, fool."
You want someone to play gay with? I heard you.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day. But
This
yeah,
is
and
what
then I
happens
bought
with Prosecco on Valentine's Day. Gay
trying
jokes,
to-
apparently.
and many vodkas. What was the bloody Rise of Iron? Got
Yeah,
that.
That's the most recent. Yeah.
Yeah, and the final DLC expansion. And
Rise of-
all I want to know is, and they still haven't fucking answered it, Destiny 2, can I transfer one of my characters over?
I don't.
Will I be able to play the same boy that I've been playing for the past 2 years, or am I going to have to start from fresh? Because if I have to
pretty
start
sure
from
they
fresh, I'm be
I
pissed
thought
off.
they said that
Pretty
they
sure they've
wouldn't
said
do it.
before that they wouldn't let you carry over characters. I'm pretty sure they've said that already.
Which I think is a good thing. It's a new game.
They need that. Yeah, they need that to bring new people in, because if you're starting from a position where people who have played Destiny 1 all the way through have got hundreds of cool shit and you've got hee-haw, you're not going to bother starting, are you?
Yeah, I think that's
Like, realistically.
that's the difference between a sequel and an expansion in this day and age. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
that
sorry, I'm
and-
just so fucked off by that.
Uh,
Because no, wait, no, hang on. I've got it here.
No, you don't.
Why would that? No, shut the fuck up. Why would that be the case when we're getting this big old new story campaign? Allegedly,
Well, so I guess
supposedly they're gonna deliver on the story. But no. But my point is Destiny at its heart is not a PvP game, so it shouldn't matter whether you're coming into it as a fresh player or as someone with 2 years' experience under your belt. Because most likely what's going to happen is you're going to come in, they're going to go, all right, what's going on? Here's your character. Woo, there you go. Go do the campaign. You go do the campaign. You go through it. And new people will go through the campaign and do their thing. And you'll just end up with a slightly separated player base.
But I guess what
just
are you
on that basis.
What are you looking for to carry your character over? Like, are you looking for?
Look, man, I just want my character and all my shit
Yeah, but as soon as you have all
that
your
I've
shit,
spent 2 years getting.
Yeah, but it's
It's like no,
But
but
how would you
I
scale
think
the
it would
game?
be disservice to fans and previous, people that have bought the game because I've sunk all this money into it. I've played the game through and through. They're going, oh, here's this sequel. Let's be fair, it's an MMO style game. It shouldn't be any different to when Warcraft brings an expansion out and
But
maybe
it's
new
not an
people come and play.
expansion.
But the people who've been playing, no, but it shouldn't. I know it's not. But it is meant to be a continuation of this world and this story, right? It's all the same. It's all the same little thing.
But,
isn't
like,
it? It's
think of
like
Guild
going
Wars and Guild
Mass
Wars
Effect
2.
1 to Mass Effect 2. You take your save with you, don't
yeah,
you?
but Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 are not MMOs.
The problem here with this one is they're actually building a new game again, because the Destiny 1 was held back quite a bit by the fact that they put it on 360 and PS3, because it came out when the PS4 and Xbox One launched, or just after it launched.
Yes.
So they held back the scope of what they could do technologically underneath, mechanically, with the game and the instancing and the going to the different areas and all that sort of thing. And you could see that a lot of the time, with the loading between areas and all that. It's
very 7th gen.
Yeah, and that's one of the things where it might not be possible to bring your character and your weapons and stuff over.
That shouldn't be a barrier, though. It's just data. It's just bits. It's just, this is that armor.
But
that's not how that works.
When they're rebuilding the entire thing, it's probably more difficult to try and bring that stuff over as it exists now, and try and fit it in so that it works without breaking anything, rather than just building new things for you to use. That's not to say that you won't get something for being a player who played, original Destiny right through. I'm sure they'll give you some cool stuff, but you won't get to carry over your character itself.
What a fucking waste of 2 years then,
No, because you enjoyed it. You spent that time and you had fun.
Did I enjoy it?
Well, that's what you're supposed to do, and if you didn't enjoy it, you're not supposed to buy the next one. That's how this works.
No, but we're forgetting about that wonderfully addictive loot system. That's what had me hooked.
Yeah, well, you think that system's going to go away?
No, what they're going to do is just refine that system down so that it's even more addictive.
Yeah, exactly.
To the point where people will not go outside. At least that'll be their plan. Right. So, what else are we wanting to see out of this apart from, better story and carrying your character over, which probably isn't going to happen?
I want to know why it's called Destiny.
Because that's what they trademarked.
Yeah, but if it's your Destiny, why does there need to be a sequel? Your Destiny is what you're fated to do for all of time.
If it's your Destiny, why is there 2 million other twats doing the same
thing? So I actually
thing?
thought that Destiny did that reasonably well compared to traditional MMOs, because you are less in there's less sort of random quests given by the same people. So you aren't feeling like, because it's an overarching battle, you're not feeling like, oh yeah, I'm fighting these rats and so is everyone else, and then I get the plot quest.
Sorry.
Jesus.
Fuck. Sorry. No, I just got really excited because I just found the article that I remember reading. Bungie definitely said Destiny characters would carry over to
did they?
Yeah. Oh, I knew they did. You guys were like, they said no, and I'm like, I swear that. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay. That was ridiculously
that's fine.
awful of me to
fact-checking
like
squad.
I'm sorry about
that. That's interesting news.
I just laughed robustly and interrupted, and that was.
Seeing as you cackle about this article, can you tell us what carries over? While I ramble about MMOs.
Now reach back to my phone.
You start reading. No one.
I'm gonna have to try and skim read this like a motherfucker.
Yeah. So I think that's what Destiny did really well, was sort of towing the line between like the FPS, Call of Duty style leveling up, and MMOs, which allowed it to not suffer from this like, I don't really buy this plot because there's like 90 other people. It had enough sort of it gave you enough solitude that it didn't seem preposterous that there were other people, and it like told you about there was other travelers, so it made sense that you'd team up with people without it seeming like it gave you the class of people who were doing this thing without saying you're the chosen one and no one else is nearly as cool as you. And like I remember playing some of like Star Wars, the Old Republic, and it being you sort of being like, you have found the first lightsaber hilt ever, and then you're like, cool, and then you're like, you team up with people to do the final battle of getting that quest done, and then you're like, but there's like 4 other people who are clearly doing the same thing. And I didn't get that sense out of Destiny at all, even when it was sort of like you're the cool special guy who was doing the special thing. I thought they did a really good job of giving you enough solitude to balance out the team play on the raids. That even when you were doing it for plot purposes, it didn't feel like it was at the expense of immersion, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah.
yeah. They didn't spend any time making you seem unique. You're just another guardian that has to fight this pointless war or
Well, they didn't.
this
They didn't,
fight
didn't
for
they? 'Cause in
survival.
the wider space, they made it out like you're one of many. But then you'd get the few cutscenes that existed where they'd be like, "Oh, you did
Yeah.
Guardian, you're the one," and it's like, hang on.
But like you
Yeah,
do
but
a
they
quest
do
with a
five
bunch of
other
people,
guys.
and they'd be like, "Yeah, we gave you this task, and you did it with some people, and
Yeah.
you're the awesome guy." And I thought they managed
Yeah,
to balance the like existence of the other people, and it didn't somehow like there was an sort of amorphous ambiguity of like not really questioning where these other people came to that helped you out to do that thing that only you were tasked with. It just never seemed to conjure up the same sort of clash of immersion and gameplay that you usually see on the standard RPG. You're the best one and the only one who can save the universe trope. Yeah. So I thought I think that's one of the reasons why I really liked the plot a lot. One, sci-fi MMOs are hard to find, and it's just general sufficient world building. But two, I never felt like it dragged me out.
Yeah, that's definitely a kind of pillar of what they did right that they can build on. You're just one guardian, and there's many fighting. This fight, but against the Fallen and the Hive and whatnot, and you've just to get on with it. And yeah, you'll do cool things, and you'll get praise for being good enough to do that. Because to a certain extent, when you finish some of the quests and the strikes and different things and some of the harder difficulties when you get further through, a lot of players don't make it to that far.
Really?
So you are better than quite a few Guardians, because there'll be plenty of people who didn't get to that, failed miserably or whatever, and then quit. So it makes sense within the context, like you're saying, Ado, which is a good thing, a very good thing that they can build on. So between that and story, I noticed we haven't really mentioned mechanical things with the game that we want them
Which
to
is
improve,
what I was sort of
because-
hoping you guys would fill me in on, because you have a little more in-depth knowledge of it.
The only thing I would say is I actually, after playing it recently as well, I preferred Vanilla Destiny.
Really?
I miss the weapon balance from Vanilla Destiny.
I
think-
remember it being quite imbalanced. Not quite imbalanced, but it was a bit rough around the edges. I
There-
feel like we've
there were-
smoothed a lot of the kinks out now.
There was a couple of things that needed tweaking from
Yeah.
Vanilla Destiny that would have improved it. A couple of the shotguns did need their range reduced because it was
Yeah, yeah.
ridiculous, but not all of the shotguns, which is where I draw the line, because they ruined the invective, which had literally no range on it to begin with, and
Yeah.
then they cut it more to the point where you had to literally bash people in the back with it before you could blow them away, sort of thing. I think they tweaked it again after, but those are the kind of things where
Yeah.
a lot of the tweaking they did made a lot of other things worse instead of improving them, whereas they should have taken it to kind of weapon specific. This one is the one everyone's complaining about, so we'll reduce that one. Not every shotgun is bad because they shoot you from across the room when it's only one of them really doing it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
in Vanilla Destiny, the auto rifles had too much range because you could pretty much use them to snipe
but
people.
they're boring.
Yeah, but they needed to reduce the range on them, which they did. But it's one of those. There was a couple of tweaks that needed, but overall, I think Vanilla Destiny was better than the way it's ended out.
I see what you're saying.
I disagree, respectfully.
That's just my opinion.
No, yeah, I think.
I think a lot of it depends on your playstyle as well, because a lot of as I mentioned, Invective was one of my favourite weapons, and that became a lot more difficult to use, which is one of those. It depends.
Well,
I think everyone will have different opinions on it based on the weapons that they naturally prefer, and whether or not they find the tweaks that they made beneficial or not, which is why. We could probably argue about this endlessly for the rest of the time.
But
If I had to be honest, I think it feels fine. I think Bungie know how to do a shooter. You know.
Yeah. Again,
If anything, I think just since we're dropping 7th gen consoles, and I assume they're going to be working a reworked version of their engine, I would like to maybe see. I think the only thing that could kind of benefit it on a gameplay level was sort of just a better frame rate, because the locked 30 could be a bit because it's not a particularly smooth 30. Like, it's a locked 30, but there's micro stutters and there's sort of a lack of use of motion blur. So it's kind of, for me personally, again, this is all subjective, but I would get I'd just start to feel a bit sick after playing the game for a while.
can I ask? For me, my favorite loadout is essentially a hand cannon and a sniper rifle and a machine gun.
Yeah.
Or a hand cannon and a sidearm and a machine gun. Unless there's a reason not, like, unless I'm boss fighting, in which case obviously a rocket launcher has a separate advantage.
Yeah.
I was just curious what you guys play with, just give everyone an idea of, because as Adam pointed out, it sort of depends on our playstyle. So I thought maybe describing your playstyle might help.
Oh God, I haven't played in a while. Can't remember what I used.
Love the hand cannons.
Adam, you go.
Well, Invective is a common one for me using, especially in multiplayer and the more compact maps, because it recharges ammo and it's automatic, so 4 shots, bang, 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 and you kill pretty much anyone in the room. The sidearms, I love using them because you can really mess with people who have clearly better weapons or machine guns trained on you, and you still kill them, which is great. Plus, you get lots of ammo for them.
I mean, that's why I like the sidearm hand cannon version, where you like go for the headshot with the hand cannon a couple times, and then if you don't quite get them, you switch to the sidearm and just unload a clip, and then you're at the same range, and you should be able to kill them.
Yeah, and I think is it the Vestian Dynasty that you always had ammo when you respawned?
Yeah.
Which was absolutely critical when they changed the special ammo to making it more difficult to get a hold of all the time. So having ammo that either recharged or that you would get every time you died made a big difference.
Yeah.
My main primary weapon would be Bad Juju.
Which one's that, sorry?
Because it constantly refilled your ammo every time you shot anyone. So you could keep going, blasting into groups of people, which is great on PvE and PvP. That's my general loadout. I switch between those. I use the snipers and stuff as well. Patience and Time was great. Or is great. Especially when you've got the cloak ability and you're running about hiding. It's great.
No, I'm well boring. I like an auto rifle and a sidearm. That said, it's a badass auto rifle. It's the bloody lightning one. Can't remember the name of it. Begins with a Z. Zool or something. It's like an AK-47 and it shoots lightning, and it's ridiculous. And I'm like, it shoots lightning, mate. And I got it upgraded to the point where if enemies are stood close enough together, shooting one, it would just chain arc energy attacks on everyone. So it was just a beast in PvE and PvP, and it was ridiculous. And it was one of the first. It was an exotic that came in the Taken King, and I got it in like the first few days of the expansion being out. I was really excited. I remember seeing it in a GameSpot video. They're like, we just found this exotic, check it out. And I was like, wow, I'll never get that gun. And then about 2 hours later, I was like, I got that gun. It's like, oh, this is
and that is the only time that's ever happened in Destiny.
That's it.
Ever.
That's the only time it's ever happened. That's the big reason I didn't bother sticking on the Xbox with Destiny. I was like, well, I've got all the good shit.
What's your favorite? I know we've been Destinying about quite a bit. But what classes are your favorite? What class do you guys play the most?
Warlock.
Yeah, I'm a
What
Warlock
kind of
boy. Fucking a shit hot Warlock. That's what kind of Warlock.
One of the good ones.
Yeah,
Do you have
I'm not turning people into shit.
damage type of preference, a build preference kind of thing? Built's the wrong word. But
Yeah, I don't think that kind of thing really applies. I know there's going to be Destiny fans yelling at me. Yes, it does. I've never found it really matters. Because here's the thing. Fuck people who say otherwise. Destiny's a first-person shooter.
Wait, what?
First and foremost.
Yeah,
I thought I just had an astigmatism.
Some MMO trimmings, and a lot of people seem to gravitate all of their playing and preference and setups towards kind of the MMO stance. And for me, it's more. I've always treated it with more of a kind of Call of Duty Battlefield approach, which is it's whatever works for me.
Yeah.
And,
well, I just say that
in
because
my case, because it's like, yeah. No, go okay. No, I don't know. I just kind of. They've balanced it all out where you get to this point where when you're in the raids, your power set. What the fuck was it called? Your arc damage, your storm, your lightning, your fire, solar, whatever. Changing
Void
that,
arc.
should we call them perks, powers, whatever? That subclass. Yes, thank you. Bloody mate, it's been so long since I've been near the Destiny. That stuff kind of mattered within the greater end game PvE stuff. But for everything else, you can just do whatever. Doesn't matter, because everything's kind of balanced. Like, when you get into PvP, everything kind of gets neutered and balanced out so it's a fair fight.
Yeah, but I'm talking about playstyle of choice, right? I
just run around and shoot shit.
But,
man.
I prefer... If I was going to play Titan, I would prefer I prefer Titan, with the big hammer and when you swing the hammer, when your uber weapon is shooting fireballs. Man, I'm the worst at this. I brought the topic up and then couldn't back it up with actual terms. Apologies.
Yeah, it's not really a kind of play style game, really.
Interesting.
It is and it isn't. That's the thing. I personally, I'm probably not the best person to ask. Adam, you say something now.
I was going to say, with the character building, you can change the different things that you pick to change your armor, your shield, and
I'm talking about a choice, right?
Or whatever.
What do you prefer?
Those are, I've noticed they don't make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's very limited.
This is the very, very fine margins where you'll notice that there's that one time where a guy walks past you as you go through a door and he kills you. That split second before you turn round. But then if you change your character around kind of thing, then you start killing those people. But then you die quicker when someone shoots at you from further away because you've not got the shield and armor that you're used to having and all that. So it's very, very fine margins on that sort of stuff. As you say, they balance it all out pretty well. But, it's one of those.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm all rattled up from when you guys were telling me that I wouldn't be able to keep my character. It fucked me off.
And that turned out to be a lie.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing. Brushing through a quick skim through Google, it's very conflicting. There's a lot of things saying you'll get to take your character. There's a lot of things saying, probably not. But I think the current theory and the current idea is you'll get to keep your character, and it will come. You'll keep sort of your gear and bits as cosmetic items. And things that can be rebalanced for the new game will be, but for the most part, you're likely to be reset. But you'll still have the same warlock that you've run all these raids with for the past 2 years, which is what is important to me. I don't want to have to start up Destiny 2 and they go create a character. I want to just go, well, I want my guy because we've been through shit, Obviously, I'm a bit pissed off that I might lose my sick-ass lightning gun, but I'll get it again. It's fine.
I'm sure there'll be cool new guns to
badass new guns. I'm excited about that. And, I mean, if it's true and it comes to PC...
Oh, fuck. If it came to PC, then the game would change, and I would probably pay a lot more. I mean, one of the battles I've had...
Mate, as long as if it was on PC and I get to crank that shit up to
I could care less about the bells and whistles that way. I'm just really shit with controllers, which listeners at Tanked Up know that I am really shit with controllers and lament this almost every episode because playing with friends matters more than playing well to me, and so most of the people I know game are on consoles these days, and before I finally bought a current gen console in 2016, I the last console I owned was a Wii and a PS3. And I didn't ever play FPSs or anything like that. I didn't even GoldenEye. Like, that's my pedigree. FPSs have always been mouse and keyboard, and I just don't analog joystick well. And I'm finally getting to a point where I kind of do. But like, if I knew people who play PC games more often of the type that I like playing, I would immediately switch back because I'm better at that.
Yeah.
That's your natural environment.
That's your habitat. I was raised PC gaming, but it's weird. I'm kind of average with a keyboard and mouse in a first-person shooter, but I'm quite above average with a controller, even on PC. Like, I was playing Battlefield 1 when it came out on PC, just with my Xbox One pad, and I was doing just fine, you know. But that is down to actual full 100% full fat controller support. It's just I was able to compete, but again, that's just because, not to brag about it, Mr. I'm good at games. That's me, but I'm all right with a game. I don't mind. I'm happy anywhere as long as I'm playing a game.
How old are you, Alfred?
I'm in my 20s.
Yeah, that's a decade. You're not in your 40s. You can say what year it is.
Yeah, I know.
I'm peer pressuring you to say how old you are.
You'll never get it out of me.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not your peer because I'm 33. It's a different world I come from. In my day, games were on PC. Video games were called computer games.
All my games were on PC, man. I was brought up in the fucking 80s with my technology, despite being born in the 90s.
Yeah, there we go. That's all I need to know. I was born in 1983, and you were born in the 90s.
Yeah, but that regardless, the tech I was brought up with and the games I was brought up playing were not of the appropriate era for my age.
I'm just saying that, like, you had access, even when you went to friends' house and stuff, to analog joysticks as the primary.
I get that. Okay, no, I get that.
I'm
I get
saying.
what you're saying.
I'm not downplaying your skill or anything. I'm just saying it's weird because I'm an old fart. That's what I'm trying to say.
I get that. I get you.
Yeah.
For more on that topic, listeners, listen to Tanked Up.
Oh my god.
Fair enough.
We shall move on to our next talking point, which we should rattle through quite quickly, because there's not much to say on this one, other than Danny Dyer has said that he wants to be the new Doctor Who, but only if he can keep his accent.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think of the likelihood of that happening?
Well, 0.
Less than 0. Minus
Less
10.
than 0.
So
minus 10.
Minus 14, which is what Doctor will be going on to.
I have to say that I didn't really know who Danny Dyer was when I saw the talking point.
You lucky son of a bitch.
And so it kind of was like, meh.
Yeah. To be honest, Doctor Who, meh, these days.
Pretty much since Russell T Davies left.
I had a very, very good time with Moffat's first run on the show, and I'm a big fan of Matt Smith.
So I liked Matt Smith. I hated his stories.
Series and like the first part of his second series, and then sort of halfway through series 6, they had that break, and then they came back with like, what was that episode? Let's Kill Hitler or something. And
yeah.
Like, okay, we're going this
way
with the show. And then it just continued downwards.
I mean,
from there.
This is my relationship with Stephen Moffat, which is he's got his head up his ass.
Oh hell yeah! I hate the man.
Yeah. So like
Stephen, if you're listening, fight me.
So I liked Matt Smith a lot, and that pulled me through 2 of his seasons. And then at some point, it was like I watched the John Hurt special.
That was bad. That 50th special was shit.
But like the season before that, I like binge watched with a mate because we wanted to be caught up for the 50th special.
Yeah, I get you.
And that's the only reason I really finally caught up. And I'm a guy who, I'm sure listeners, you can tell I'm not British born. I'm Canadian, and I grew up with Doctor Who on public broadcasting service, PBS reruns.
Yeah.
So since I was for years, since I was about 8 or 9, I would sneak downstairs after bedtime on Saturday nights, and I would watch the half-hour British show, which was a rotation of Fawlty Towers, Blackadder, or Red Dwarf, and then
Oh, yeah.
the hour and a half of Doctor Who, which was the sort of condensed storyline versions of the series,
Okay.
which was
Yeah, yeah.
you didn't lose any content, you just lost the repeat of the cliffhanger and the credits.
Yeah, yeah.
They just sort of cut the credits.
That's how I watched the
Yeah.
original.
And I did
when
that
was
for
growing up, yeah.
years on end and got in trouble a lot because I should have been asleep. And then it stopped being a thing. But like I would do that time and time again. Like the fact that I saw Faulty Towers, and which is one of my favorite shows of all time, is because of my
Guilty.
obsession with Doctor Who, and it happened to go into PBS rotation. I love Doctor Who, and then I really liked Eccleston. I was okay with Tennant.
David Tennant.
And then with Matt Smith, it was like, I really like this Doctor. I hate these storylines. And then at some point, I stopped caring.
Yeah.
And that was very Moffat years. And so,
Well, on that, I will ask Adam. Are you a fan of the Who of the Doctor?
Yeah, definitely. Matt Smith
Well,
is
then-
far and away my favourite Doctor.
Absolutely, we are Team
Tom
Smith.
Baker.
His floppy
Yeah,
head.
Tom
Then
Baker.
my question for you guys is:
Tom
let's just go Matt Smith's-
Baker,
Yes, he's very excellent as well.
Peter
but we're talking
Davidson,
Doctor Who post 2005.
real Doctor Who.
Even further, talking Matt's just first
I'm
series, which is Series 5 of New Who. What was like one of your favourite episodes from Matt's first series?
I can't remember which episodes come from which series, but
Well, then just hit me with your fave.
any episode with the Weeping Angels in them.
Oh,
I've
fuck
always
those
enjoyed
angels.
That's fair.
Because that's the only Who monster that I find
Yeah.
actually terrifying in
Fucking
any capacity.
terrifying.
But that's actually
Yeah,
why I
The
dislike
idea
New
of
Who.
something that exists that when I look at it ceases to be a living thing and is just a
Yeah.
statue. But when I turn away, becomes alive. Just as a fucking terrifying thought.
That is
Yeah,
awful,
so that's
yeah.
why
You
I-
think how many stone things have I
I'm
walked
scared now.
past on a regular basis and think, oh, that is no.
So
remember
this
the
is
first
actually
Weeping
why
Angels episode.
one of the reasons why, as someone who like absorbed a lot of early Doctor Who in my youth, why I had a problem with New Who was the fact that the Daleks were like just trotted out as bad enemy, but never really
Yeah.
shown as bad enemy.
I get
Like the first time you saw the Daleks, they were just sort of creepy, exterminating Nazi robots. I mean, they were obviously Nazi robots. And then when you finally saw their origin, it was first time you went to Davros, and it was like, holy shit, this is the middle of like a racial civil war across a planet, and the way that they're choosing to sacrifice their actual bodies to win because they're that determined to exterminate. And it was like, fuck off, that's fucking hardcore.
Yeah.
And then
for
now
sure.
you see them, it's like, well, we're going to appear 3 times a year, twice a year. And now we've conquered the stair problem by making ourselves fly. And and then that's the big cliffhanger is, we can beat stairs.
I remember being when the Daleks were brought back in New Who. That's like episode 5 of it.
Yeah, see, the first time makes sense.
That's a good episode.
Yeah, but that's because they're
Yeah,
new
definitely.
and they're like badass. But then they were trotted out
Yeah.
in a very samey way, and
now they pop up and I go,
well,
this-
and then they became
really
they
bad.
became like the enemy in the Time Wars, but they didn't really explain
Yeah.
how the Daleks ever got sort of time technology really, and why. Like it just was like, well, they're the most memorable bad guy from Old Who, so
Yeah.
we'll just make them the pivotal bad guy in the like loose storyline that we'll never really go into, and it was just it just
I think
diluted them.
I think, Adil, what you're hitting on there is the problem with Stephen Moffat's kind of control over this, where he's managed to spin a lot of good mysteries and a lot of good, really interesting, compelling questions that you want answers to,
yeah.
and then just abandons
Fuck 'em.
them.
Well,
and never
Oh my
bothers.
God.
so the Daleks, I
And
actually
that's
think
special.
Russell T Davies did a disservice before, but yeah, Moffat basically redefined the world of Doctor Who, which some people complained about at the time, and I was okay with because it is a reboot of the series, despite technically being just another regeneration. They were clearly able to redefine some things, and they weren't tied to the same universal rule set. But then he would break his own rules. Like Moffat introduced stuff that Russell T Davies didn't do, and then he broke his own rules. And it's like, okay, you're just trying to make things convoluted so that people can say you're cool.
Yeah, that's it. That's the big problem.
Also, he hates women. Or rather, doesn't understand that women are real people.
That is 100% accurate.
So anyway, tell me
yes.
about Danny Dyer. He said he was trying to get things back on track.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, he's from what?
Who do you want to take over from Capaldi?
Matt
Who
Smith.
who by the way, I love Peter Capaldi. He's been fucked on his run on the show. From day one, he's had nothing but shit scripts.
They had an opportunity to do something really interesting with his version of the Doctor and squandered it.
Totally.
But I enjoy him as the Doctor, but that's another.
He's so hit and miss. I mean, I got really fucked off I hated the 50th special.
Yeah, I think everyone.
It just it was completely blown out of proportion. It ruined some massive elements of
inserting a Phantom Doctor.
That was bullshit. Just because Eccleston didn't want to come back. If Eccleston didn't want to come back, just get Paul McGann to come and be the War Doctor. It's even said in the series that he regenerated right at the end of the war. So Paul McGann's 8th Doctor would have been the one in the Time War.
And Paul McGann was actually open to doing that.
He would have come back and done it. He's great. But no, before I go off on one about that, because I'm going to, to alleviate the tangent, my big issue was, this is an episode 6 or 7. It's called The Caretaker, and Peter Capaldi's Doctor goes undercover in Clara's school. By the way, I don't like Clara very much. Love Jenna Coleman, not a big fan of her character in the show. He goes undercover.
Maybe it's because she's yet another magic girl who is the key to the universe.
That's it. Well, it's not even that. It's just her introduction into the show was interesting at first, and then when she finally comes into it, it's just they skip over all the character development and the get-to-know-you bits. It's like we jump 4 episodes and then all of a sudden she knows everything about the Doctor. And it's like, what? We didn't get to see that. It's like, what? We've missed the growth and the bonding of their relationship. That's a different story. That's a different conversation for a different time. But my big problem was they're doing what was a shitty version of School Reunion, really, without the reunion. And there's a scene where the Doctor tells a small child that she's nothing and worthless and pointless.
Wait, what?
She's a speck of... He doesn't say that word for word, but this is the gist. Every single Doctor ever has always told everyone that they're important and that they're special and that they matter, right? Regardless of the mood. Even bloody Colin Baker told people... He was a twat, but he'd tell people, look, you're alright, mate. You're bloody... Don't you put yourself down.
Yeah, that's the Doctor.
Look at my coat. It's ridiculous. It's brilliant. Come on. And then he'd slap him in the face for moaning about something. It's a really loose version of the 6th Doctor, isn't it? But, Peter Capaldi's Doctor, who is the 13th Doctor.
What?
Not the 12th. Shut the fuck
Wait,
up.
is he the 13th or the 14th or
all
the
your
12th?
marketing
I can't
campaign is
remember
bullshit.
anymore.
But he told this girl, she's like, he tells her, shut up, you're nothing, you're just a human, you don't matter, shut up. And it just goes against everything that the Doctor stands for, regeneration or not. Across regenerations, there was always that point with the character that he retained certain personality traits, that he believed in people and in hope.
Well, and humanity specifically.
Yeah, that was it. And they took that from him, but then they didn't, because then Peter Capaldi's Doctor is just a senile old fart, toddling around not knowing his left foot from his right. One minute he's a moody bastard who's got no time for anyone because he's too smart for everyone, and then in the next scene, or the next episode of the next scene, he's going around bumbling like an idiot, sort of Matt Smith style, where he would show up with his floppy hair going, "What's going on? Oh right, I know what's happening." And it's like they couldn't. This Doctor has no identity. Peter Capaldi, he's got no identity as the Doctor, no fault of his own. He's a cracking actor. He's brilliant. He's a massive fan of the show. I imagine it's not been said yet, but I'm guessing he's the one who's gone, this is kind of wank. I'm off, mate. What the fuck's this? You fucked me in, Moffat. And I can't wait for Moffat to go. I'm excited for whoever comes in. That at the same time, that said, aren't they introducing a new companion with this? Not even a full-length series. It's just it's a shortened down
Is it like
series, isn't it?
So I have to confess that despite describing myself as a lifelong diehard Doctor Who fan, I've seen zero Capaldi episodes because
You're not missing out.
I just got so soured by that last season of Smith
Yeah.
and the 50th
Don't worry about it.
that I was just like,
It's
Capaldi.
perfectly valid.
Yeah, Capaldi
Yeah,
seemed
to have
interesting,
that
and I heard
reaction.
great things, but I just, there's enough media in the world to consume, and I was just like, nothing
Yeah.
is pushing me towards this. It's the same thing that happened to me with Sherlock season 3, which I finally started like 2 weeks ago and got through most of
Yeah.
episode 1 of season 3, but not quite all of it. And again, this is what I'm going to call, and I'm sure the internet has already called this, the Moffat effect. Of like, I'm up my own ass, and I'm giving
He's
two
just
shits.
in love with his characters,
but not
too
even his
much.
characters, right? Because he's not
No.
doing the characters a good service. He's doing them a disservice because he's in love with this
Yeah.
idea of puppet master of the characters.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's Capaldi's second series. The first 2 episodes are set on Skaro.
Oh, they really?
World. Yeah, and they're shit. Don't watch them.
Oh,
This
fuck.
is
I think I
scene
said
where
Davros as the
he-
homeworld earlier instead of...
Don't
Oh,
worry,
why
it's
didn't you
fine.
correct me? I
It's
feel
just-
like an asshole now.
Because honestly, I wasn't
Yeah,
really
that's
listening. I'm joking. No, I just didn't pick up on it, mate. That's all.
I can't believe I did that.
But
I
there's
am-
a scene. He kicks Davros out of his chair. He takes his chair. He bungs into this shitty little set. Like the production value's gone down on Who. It looks awful.
Which is technically
since they've
like
finished
vintage
the
Who.
50th special. It's not even no. It's it's not even on level with that in some cases. There's some really shoddy work here, and I don't understand what's happened there. But yeah, he goes into this room. There's all these darks. They get moody at him, start blasting off. Exterminate. Doesn't have any effect because he's in Davros's chair. There's a nice little force field there. Davros is a smart bloke. He's figured that out. There's all this big explosion, cloud of smoke when they shoot him, and he spins the chair round through the smoke, and all of a sudden he's got a saucer and a cup of tea. And he goes, I bet you're wondering where I got the cup of tea from. Short answer, I'm the doctor. Deal with it. It's like, what the fuck? What? What is that? That's not what? That's not Doctor Who.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like they missed the point because
So one of the reasons...
it's not though. That's never been a thing.
So one of the reasons I've disliked
Never.
New
that
Who...
kind of level of arrogance within just the writing. There's always Doctor Who is science fantasy, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. It started off as a bit of science fiction, evolved into fantasy, or devolved into fantasy, depending on who you ask. But it's always had some grounding within.
Yeah,
It has.
So
Amazing characters, whatever. But it's always kind of gone, well, it sets its rules for the universe. Whether they're rules of the real
Right, but
world
if
or
it's-
not,
yeah.
it sets rules and kind of sticks to them. Here's the guide. It never goes, oh, he got shot at and there's a puff of smoke and now he's got a cup of, what? What's that? Is that a joke about him dressing like a magician? If it is, it's a shit one. It's like,
Well, so...
and it just, that was the moment where I was like, I'm done.
So,
I'm done with this show.
And we're done
Yeah.
with this
But
talking.
before we move
I'm
move
gonna-
away, I will say that one of my problems with even in the Eccleston times and definitely during the Tennant times was the fact that we had Deus Ex Sonic Screwdriver. And the Sonic Screwdriver was the answer to all of the problems in a way that it never was, including in the Tom Baker years, where the Sonic Screwdriver was
Yes.
the shit. It still did things that Tools
Fuck yeah.
did and only things that Tools did.
Yeah.
And in the reboot, it became this magic thing that would just solve all the problems. And I had a real and I really didn't like that. But usually the storyline was okay that I would forgive it. But then when the storylines got shittier, I got more irate at this idea that the Sonic Screwdriver was just literally being used as a magic wand. And it sounds like what you're saying is they stopped even using the screwdriver as the excuse, and they just made Deus Ex Doctor.
It was just Moffat's love with this character and his innate power and control with it, where he just decided, well, it's the Doctor. So that's not the answer. The Doctor's vulnerable.
Do you know
Yeah,
what
fuck
the
it.
Sonic
Adam,
Screwdriver
move us along.
wouldn't fix? Danny Dyer being the Doctor,
shit.
which would
Well,
just not be a good idea.
So who do you think should be the Doctor, Adam?
Not be a good idea. And on that, we will move
But
on.
I want to know who you think
to
should
the
be
final
the
talking
Doctor.
point. I don't
Me.
know anyone good that's not a complete tool. Moving on.
Wait.
Push me out.
No, we're talking to the Doctor. We probably won't talk about it again. every time there's a new Doctor since the new series started, we've talked that people have like ruminated about a person of color or a female Doctor, and I just want really quickly, do you guys have sort of any strong opinion, or like a non-British person? You guys have a strong opinion either way about whether the Doctor needs to be a white British male. And again, I'm not trying to put my own context on this. He's always been a white British male. It makes sense that he has a sort of archetype to me. So I actually am less sort of.
As a mixed race person of color, I've always wanted to see him, as played by someone, a person of color. How PC is that? Just kind of for me, but also I think it'd be interesting. But also, it got established, when the new series kind of kicked off, and it's been brought up. The Doctor said it himself. I mean, it was in the Sarah Jane Smith Adventures, but it still counts. That's canon. He's explaining it to someone. It's like, I don't always have to be a white man. I can be any color, any sex. It's like anything goes. And I think they even set it up in in Capaldi's sort of finale where a Time Lord. We go back to Gallifrey, spoilers. But there's a moment where he shoots a Time Lord, and he's like, "What regeneration are you on?" He's like, 11. He's like, "All right, then see you in a bit." And he shoots him, and he goes from old bald white man and comes up as a young attractive black lady. And I was like, okay, I feel like that's set up for, that's kind of hinting, okay, this is a thing that can happen. And then they did it with the Master. They turned the Master from John Sims' skeleton into forgot their name, but Scottish.
Oh,
name.
really? So again, having not seen any of the recent ones, I didn't know that. Hence why I asked this question.
Yeah, it's not a great move, but I don't think it's great because they took the Master from interesting counter side of a coin of the Doctor to just being sort of almost a female version of the Joker.
Lunatic high school sweetheart that didn't go away.
Fuck.
Almost.
Really?
It doesn't really work
So,
very well.
I actually didn't like the way they handled it.
That's my worry with doing that, where they change it for the sake of changing it rather than doing it for
I'd
a
rather
reason.
that they did it for
Right,
the sake
so
of story.
I guess
the key is that they pick someone, they come up with what they want the Doctor to be like.
Yeah.
They have the character kind of set out and the storylines that they're wanting to do, and they find
and
someone
then they
who can
cast
do
around
that,
that
fits, or that someone who they can bring in who they can fit the character kind of around to a little bit.
Yeah. That's what.
So,
that's what
I mean,
prefer.
the problem-
if it comes out, if they make the announcement later in the year and they go, "Here's your new Doctor," and female actress X steps out, it's like, okay, I'm not going to be against it, but I'm going to be curious to see are they doing this because it's 2017 and we should.
My actual problem with the
Master's
Master's handling was that I felt like the Master, at least up until end of Matt Smith era, which I recognized had no Master, was shit. It wasn't the Master at any point. John Sim had a moment, but then they ruined it within that arc. It didn't feel like the Master. And
I get that. I enjoyed him when he first
but
came
I'm saying
back.
like he came back and they got rid of him so fast that like they came back with I get like this feels like the Master, and then they killed him off in a way that was very unmaster like, and they were like, and this is it, this is the end of the Master because it's his last regeneration. I'm like, and they were clearly doing this thing where it's like we're gonna have some sort of false idea of like finality to make this episode seem huge. But like, I'm fully on board with anyone playing either of the roles, and I actually think that like you just need character traits. And you won't be able to figure out character traits until you see them in a storyline. But one of the things that I didn't feel was at the end of John Sims' Master was that he was inhabiting Master-like character traits.
I tell you what, I did love. I love that scene where it's him and David Tennant. And David Tennant's telling him that they're the last two, and they have this big emotional. Oh, fuck! And I'm thinking about that scene. I'm like,
I just felt like it was
a moment. I was like, that's powerful. That's good shit.
Yeah,
We
and I
haven't had
think
that.
the reason why I
in a
shied
long
away
time.
from that was because it was sort of like it felt very throwaway because then they
Yeah.
quote unquote killed him, and it was like they made this like
Yeah.
pathos between we're the only two, so our rapport matters more in a very different way than
Yeah.
it ever has. And then they're like,
Yeah.
and he's dead forever, and that happened within like seconds of each other. And so it was kind of like
Yeah.
it felt like they were trotting out the connection between the Doctor and the Master just to show that the Doctor's alone rather than the Master as a
Yeah.
person. Like it felt very much like they two-dimensionalized
that.
him,
Yeah.
and then he was theoretically dead forever, and that doesn't because
I think what we to drill down on this to the kind of main point, the two main points, they need to come up with a character and casting for the Doctor that fits, that works together properly, and that needs to be backed up with good writing, and that's
Which hopefully we'll get, because we're getting
And-
a whole new
yeah.
team of writers.
which it remains to be seen because it will be unproven at that point because it's a new team and
Yeah.
all the rest of it. But at
Yeah.
least it won't be Moffat because
mean,
Moffat's shown us with
Yeah.
the Master becoming
yeah,
messy.
well, and the Doctor
that
becoming
it's
messy.
not. It doesn't always work when you don't do it right. So I think that's the two main points. So it doesn't matter who it is as long as
Yeah.
they pick someone who can do what they want to do.
I think what we really need is to avoid a big hoo-ha, because you remember when they
Was-
announced Peter Capaldi and there was an entire half-hour
Uh,
TV segment
was that a
on
pun that
BBC
you meant?
for it.
A hoo-ha?
Hoo-ha.
No, I didn't.
That's why I
didn't
know that.
realise it.
On-
But I just my point is when David Tennant was announced, it was in the paper. They were just like, he's going to be the new Doctor, and it was the same with Matt Smith. There was a small press release and an interview with him in a magazine. They're like, Matt's going to be the new Doctor Who. Isn't that nice? Cool. Let's get on with our day. But then when he left and Peter was coming on, they had an entire TV episode just to have him come out. And be
Yeah,
like,
and I
"Hello,
think that
that's
showed
me."
how much up their
And
ass
that,
they were.
that was that. That's it. And hopefully with Moffat's departure, I'll probably watch a little bit of his upcoming series just to see I want to know what's happening. I'll watch the first episode, maybe the first two. If it's not happening, I'll leave. Then I'll come back on when we get a refresh, our new team and our new Doctor, and I'll see if it's happening then. Because, I'm always going to be a fan, whether or not I think a series or a particular part is any good. I still love Doctor Who as a series on the whole. But I mean,
Yes.
that's just me. What about you boys?
I agree. We're waiting for it to get good again, and
Yeah,
that's
get
what
good.
we can hope for. Maybe not with this last series, but hopefully
Yeah.
in the future.
So, as someone who
And with that-
said he would,
Adil,
I'm just
Adil.
just gonna say that as someone who hasn't seen all of
Shush.
Capaldi, I'm planning on binging. Fuck, I'm planning on binging on the Capaldi eps because I'm still a Who fan, and I'm
Don't.
curious of what happened.
Don't binge watch them. You'll ruin the show for yourself.
What to do is look up the review scores and pick the.
And I
good
might
ones.
do that, but I guess my point is that I haven't written the
few.
show off despite not watching it for an entire Doctor. is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
I've
Yeah.
started writing the show.
And with
I'm halfway
that,
through the
I'm
sentence.
writing this show off. I think
Do
we've
that.
waffled on enough before our listeners
Sorry.
bleed at the ears, and before my girlfriend kills me for dragging
Hey,
this on for
Dave
so long.
and I both warned you that it would be 2 hours, and we're only like an hour 32 minutes from when I hit record, and that was before we even started the actual pod.
It doesn't matter. We've gone.
It's not
on
like it's
too
Valentine's
long, and
Day
with
or
that,
something.
We bring it to a close.
Oh.
We're bringing it to a close, Adil.
Sorry, Jen.
We have plugs. If you want to visit the website, outoflives.net, you can tweet at us at outoflivespod, and you can email us feedback on this stupidly long episode.
Oh,
at
you'll edit it
podcast
down to
at
50
outoflives.net. Yeah, you can email in and tell me what a good job I've done editing this rabble into something coherent. Please do, because I'll need the support. And with that, listeners, we'll see you next week.
Wait! You
Goodbye.
can't sign off without us doing our plugs. Ass.
Fuck it.
Tiger! Uppercut! Connection! Sonic boom!
www.outoflives.net.
Fuck you. That's what I put this. Fuck you, Adam. Put this in the damn podcast. No, seriously.